Welcome to the Daily Dose. My name's Robert. Here's my pal Susan. Hi, Susan.
Good day, good day.
So I was
Game three.
just I was noting you were noting the colors. Today is the day. Warriors game 3 against the Celtics. You've got your yellow. I've got my blue. Together, we are Warriors.
Yes, we are warriors. Go
Take the
Dubs.
numbers. I mentioned a story. Did I tell you this part? I don't know if I did. That Mom and Dad and I are going to the Chase Center tonight.
Yes,
So
we'll
there's a
talk
lot.
about it. Yes.
Never been inside of it. Very exciting to go to be inside. Mom's wanted to go. Well, I mean, I don't even know if she went to a game at Oracle. Because here's the funny thing: the Warriors, and they're really good about telling the story right now. You're hearing them. They're saying just 10 years ago, they were literally handing out tickets. They couldn't get people to go to games in
Please come
Oakland.
to a game.
Exactly. They had, I mean, players, especially like the bench players, the guys who are, 12, 13, 14, 15 on the bench, they had to go to the BART station and hand out, hey, would you like to come to a Warriors game tonight? I mean, it seems unreal at
Come.
this point,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
that turnaround is. So tonight, again, for those who are watching uninitiated, the Warriors are in Boston. So their new facility in San Francisco called the Chase Center is opening up, and they're actually charging, and we are happy to pay it just to be in the building, $25 a head to watch the game on a big screen amongst, 15 to 20,000 other Warriors fans.
That is so cool.
Right. So here it is with all that set up. Guess what? Dad got diagnosed with COVID last night. Mom and Dad are in quarantine.
Oh.
So they can't go to the game tonight. And by the way, I don't know if I told you this much about it, but there's a family wedding this weekend. It's my parents' nephew, my dad's brother's son. Big wedding that has been, over a year plus in Santa Barbara. Chris flying out here. The four of us going to Santa Barbara together to have time together. That's not going to happen.
Oh gosh. What?
So this just happened last night, like late last night, as they were gearing up to give Francesca a birthday call. About 8:45, I get a text. We just found out we have COVID. And so here's the Brene Brown take on this in terms
Uh,
of,
yeah, I was trying to figure out how we could
things don't go
balance.
as things don't go as planned is the bucket. And here's the emotions she lists, right? And we just played with these the other day.
Yeah.
Boredom,
Disappointment,
disappointment, expectations, regret,
regret.
discouragement, resignation, and frustration. And
Yeah, check, check.
I get it. And this is life. This is reality. I mean, so I mean, my take is always, how can I yes and this? And so one of the immediate yes and is the game. How can I go? So I call up all my friends because my mom and dad are like, if you can give those tickets to a friend and you go with them, great. Because I want to go. The first part of this, and it's like everybody's gone or out of town or not able, and I'm like, oh. So I made a late night pitch to Giuseppe. I said, I know it's not really your thing, sports, not
Oh,
really, but
yeah.
this would be a lot of fun in a crowd. He likes stadium food. I'll get you a good hot dog,
That's right.
the beautiful building. And he was like, I'll think about it. So this morning, Anna Maria said, I think he's going to go with you. I'm like, okay. So it's still delicate. I don't know, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. That is the interesting yes and of this part
Hey,
one.
universe, open up.
Part two, I mean, tremendous disappointment not to see my sister because I don't get to see her that often. She's flying out from Austin, and we were really planning. I mean, what it turned out, it was going to be just the four of us, which was a weird thing because
Rare.
her wife not being able to go, Anna Maria not being able to go, and both of we wanted them to, but just last minute because of various stuff. All of a sudden, it was going to be the four of us, a nuclear family. That gets peeled away. So then I'm like, Chris, what do you think? Just me and you go. And she's like, yeah, not that I wouldn't love to because I love you, but I was really, this is important to me with mom and dad. And I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
And now she just kicks this back to me to say, she says, look, the place is paid for if you want to go. So I have to make, or I'm going to make that pitch here in a minute to say, four of us, Santa Barbara for the weekend. I mean, even if, can only go to, maybe I go to the wedding and you guys hang out in the apartment and we just enjoy Santa Barbara. Maybe. I mean, this is life, right? This is how we try to yes and things and
Yeah. Yeah.
all
Yeah. 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 So
So,
Anna Marie and the kids were not going to go to the wedding anyway.
well, see, the thing is, kids weren't invited.
The
Is
kid, oh, you can't, no kids. Okay, gotcha,
There's
gotcha.
one of
So
those
they
weddings,
stay home with the kids.
very clearly.
Wow. Well,
Yeah. So
yeah, you'll know soon.
when things don't go as planned for you, where do you go?
Hmm. At first, I try to breathe, and I don't mean to be glib. I actually really can
Yeah,
feel that that's important.
mechanical,
So I must
absolutely.
subconsciously hold my breath. I mean, I'm
Or you
unconsciously.
start taking shallow breaths if you're not paying attention. Yeah, and that
Yeah.
can have a physiological effect. I think that's great. What else, son? What do you
Hmm.
feel? What do you feel? Because we're talking emotions. Did any of those resonate with you? What would you point to?
Hmm. Um, disappointment probably kind of high. Regret not so much. That
Mhm.
has such a heavy connotation to it. Discouragement, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Um, expectations, I would be pretty realistic about. I just in the scheme of things, I guess I don't over. Yeah, I mean that's where the disappointment would come in if the expectation would failed. Let's see what else.
Frustration?
Oh, Robert, yes, for a while, and then I catch myself because that
Uh,
doesn't feel good, and so I think I reframe. I think I have an intention of, if not directly trying to find, positive, um, and I don't have a history of saying yes and to myself. I'm probably beginning to employ that in a circumstance like this, but I think I actively look for a way to feel better about it.
Yeah, and I think here's the one that's in there that's jumping off the list to me right now is resignation. Is resignation the yes that allows you to, because we talk about the value of yes and, right? Yes is the acceptance of the situation that allows you access to your power, which is and. Is resignation the emotion to say, I'm going to allow this to be, because you're blocking with boredom, you're blocking with disappointment, you're blocking with expectations, you're blocking with regret, you're blocking with discouragement, you're blocking with frustration. Is resignation the one that says, okay, I'm resigned to saying this is what it is, and this is just how I'm framing it, and therefore then allows you to do the reframing that you're allowing for.
Well, I wouldn't deny that that is true about resignation, and I also would potentially think I could make that attach that to some of the others. Um, disappointment isn't a dead end to me.
Hmm. Good.
It's a thing you have to deal with. You know, I
Oh,
mean, it was
and to be very clear, like I was saying several times yesterday, I don't mean any of these are negative. I try to really
yeah,
take
yeah,
that
yeah.
and remind myself of that. These aren't positive, negative. Just I was seeing them as blocks. You very well pointed out. This isn't disappointment. Isn't a block necessarily. It's a step. It sounds like.
Yeah, yes,
Got it.
yes, yes,
Go
yes.
ahead.
I I heard myself with myself, and then also saying to my husband about three different things. One of them was cancer. One of them was Parkinson's. I wish this weren't true. Well,
Well, and
that's true. I wish it weren't true. I
cancer
don't.
twice, by the way, right? I mean,
Uh,
that's
what do you mean?
you've dealt with cancer more than once.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I mean. So I want to be clear about that because talk about it's not just, oh well, I've been through this, I'm okay. Your second one, which I was
Oh
around
no.
for,
It was just like getting a Parkinson's diagnosis or any other diagnosis. Just yeah. Having done cancer once does not check it off the bottom of the
right.
list for
So
sure.
that's the granularity I wanted to make sure to put out there when you talk
Right.
about
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. 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 But I'm discovering it's okay to say I wish this weren't true.
Sure.
It can stop right there. That doesn't necessarily imply anything else.
I love that you said that because I think people get very worried about how they'll be perceived if they express that feeling.
Yeah.
And it's an extraordinarily human. Like my dad has been very hesitant to talk about what I remember him saying very clearly. And pardon for those who don't like language, I'm going to be frank with what he said. When I asked him how he was feeling early on about his diagnosis, he said, well, my first thought was, why the fuck me?
Yeah.
And, I think he's over the years tried to kind of push that away because he doesn't like how it sounds. And I would much prefer he own it from a humanistic standpoint to say, that's
Mhm.
totally reasonable.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think that speaks largely towards our emotions. The ones that we do value as good or bad, we heighten. Yes, I'm joyful and happy. Oh, anger, disappointment, those are bad. I don't feel those.
Yeah. 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 It's important. I think it's important. And maybe just the heading under which that all of this conversation falls is yes, and once again, just to give ourselves the chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the unique thing we do, and I'll stand on my soapbox with this. You heard me saying it a lot yesterday. We play with this stuff. This is like, I think if you look at emotions as little bottles, right? People put frustration and anger in the back of the cupboard, and they're like, I'd rather not deal with that. I'm going to hide that behind, my chili spice and my ketchup and whatever else, right? But we take it out and say, no, pour a little on, have a sip and feel it. Whoa, and actually feel what that feels like. And you heard John yesterday, one of our brilliant players, talking about this is so interesting to laugh at these perceived negative emotions. And I watched that scene that and it was so brilliant, Judy G did, where she just threw some snark at him via her emotion. I forgot what it was. He
Oh,
was
sure.
expressing something, and she basically said, "Oh, I'm bored with your frustration," or something. It was so beautiful because she
Right.
really was like, "Yeah, I'm just bored with your frustration." And that humanity to say, "Oh, okay, I know what that feels like," or I've had somebody deal. That's the play and the joy that comes out of that, of seeing that truth. That's explosive. Where else do you go to get that?
and 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 to have a chance to be trained and to have your exercise,
Well,
repeated.
yeah, and very importantly, because this is a nice line. I just was talking to our friend Dustin about this. Not just see it. I think that's where most people do go. That's why Brene highlights it, and I do too. We see it brilliantly done by these well-paid performers to put emotional honesty in front of us so that we can go, aha, that's not the same being a voyeur as a practicer, an exerciser, and actually going through it, right? Which is what you're saying.
Right, right, right. And that's what happens so much in our games.
Yeah. And we
Yeah.
end up feeling great because, I mean, that's the thing that at some point, get in the right camp, and maybe it's Brene's or maybe it's another set of researchers to really start finding a way to measure that. What is that feeling of release, relief, whatever that comes from being able to truthfully, honestly, playfully express our emotions?
And I would posit, what is it that allows us to get there? What's the mindset that allows us to then
I
even research or
I think
care?
yeah, I mean, I think I got a pretty good handle on that. And as I've told you, that it's really this semester has made me feel very strong. The most important thing that I do is set the classroom up. That's the most important job, and the various ways of curriculum I do that, is so that people can, as we saw, gosh, what was her name yesterday? She came back and she played
Sandy?
so well. What's that?
Sandy.
Sandy, right? She had played once before. I did remember her. And she, right from the beginning, said, yeah, I'm kind of nervous, or I wasn't sure. And, so I'm back again. And we immediately welcomed her in. And then, I could see during the song, she was a little bit standoffish, but trying to play, but she was trying to move a little bit. And then, she started going. And by the time she started playing, oh man, she was great. And by the end of it, she was just excited. But yeah, so the setup of how, for sure, it's the measurement of the after that I need to keep playing with. I can't tell you the difference, and because you've been on this journey with me almost since day one of this, how okay I am with not answering that and needing it to
Yeah,
graduate.
yeah.
I
It's this committee that needs the answers. I
oh,
ask.
what a relief to know that's not my ticket out. To have someone say, no, it's good enough what you've done. It's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Milo, if I had told you this was impossible when you started this journey, you wouldn't have
Oh,
started.
that's part of my graduation speech, wherever I give that and to whomever I give it with, because that's just, I offer it again to my day one players, just like I did to you guys at the end, to hold that little bit. King Azaz telling Milo, I couldn't tell you because what you just did was impossible.
I think that's a wonderful place for
Yep.
us to wrap.
With that, your daily dose.